Welcome to Dateline SAU, your source for the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University. I'm Katie Link.
And I'm Charles Hart. St. Ambrose University's winter commencement was canceled last year due to COVID-19, but this year's ceremony is looking to return as an in-person event.
Very excited to do this primarily for our students.
It's been 2 years since St. Ambrose held a winter commencement. Last year's ceremony had to be canceled due to COVID-19.
It broke our heart to do that, and as I've shared with people, there's not a day that goes by that we don't think of the class of 2020 and how they were impacted by the COVID pandemic.
Students share similar beliefs to Cook.
Watching the emotional turmoil that caused for them was really hard for me because I definitely saw that they didn't feel that sense of pride and recognition and all the work that they put in for the past 4 or 5 years, and that was really hard to watch. So I'm incredibly grateful that we're having a whole ceremony.
In the past, all graduates received their diplomas in a single ceremony. This year, graduate and undergraduate exercises are separate. Even with these changes, Cook emphasizes the importance of this milestone for students.
Murphy Garcia, cum laude.
It's well worth it to be able to serve our students and see the joy on their faces when they're able to cross that stage, get their diploma cover, and move on to the next phase of their lives.
COVID regulations are in place, but there is no limit to the amount of guests graduates can bring.
I'm a big family gal, and the more of my family that's there, I would love it.
Graduation is scheduled for Saturday, December 18th at the Davenport River Center.
Graduates of different ethnic backgrounds were honored in a cultural stole donating ceremony this past Sunday at St. Ambrose University. Dateline SAU's Carolyn Graham takes us through the event.
Put on by the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, students identifying as Asian, African American, Hispanic, Latinx, Native American, and Pacific Islander were honored and celebrated for their academic and personal achievements. Stoles were bestowed upon the graduates by an important person to them, such as a parent or friend, and will be worn during the commencement ceremony. But the stoles are much more than a piece of cloth around their necks.
That's what it is for me. Honor my parents and make my culture a sign that there is a way, always a way to do something better in life.
But it speaks to the family, it speaks to the struggle, as I mentioned, it speaks to their culture, their heritage, it speaks to their ancestors. And so I hope that looking to that day of wearing the stole gives them hope in those tough times.
Being able to do this, especially when we talk about all those that helped them get to this point, and the family members and friends that are not here, really gives them a moment to kind of pause and reflect as they get to the end of their collegiate career.
As they walk across the stage in a few short weeks, the stoles are meant to help inspire the graduates to continue their pursuit of excellence into the future. Carolyn Graham, Dateline SAU.
St. Ambrose University celebrated the feast of its patron saint on Tuesday afternoon in the Rogalski Center. Dateline SAU's Jamie Hennekins was at the event where students and staff were welcomed to celebrate community.
In this celebration, students and staff enjoyed their favorite hot cup of soup and specially prepared bread.
We made about 12 loaves, so we hauled in 4 this morning and a couple yesterday as well too. So it's just a way for us to, I think, demonstrate our commitment to being servant leaders to one another and to being in communion with one another.
The event was held in honor of the patron saint of bees that SAU's heritage was founded upon.
Our symbol and mascot here is also the bee, and so we just decided to bring our community back together. You know, we've been through this pandemic. It was a really great opportunity for us to just celebrate community.
This event was also held in celebration of the 30 days of service SAU students, faculty, and staff have been focused on, which began with Be the Difference Day on November 7th. Jamie Hennekins, Dateline SAU.
Earlier in the week, the university celebrated the Feast of St. Ambrose with a special Sunday Mass. At the service, a statue of the school's patron saint was blessed. The statue was given to Bishop Thomas Zinkula by a friend of his who collects historic religious artifacts. Bishop Zinkula then gave it to SAU. The statue's new home will be in the Rogalski Center.
The holidays are fast approaching, and the SAU Library is helping students prepare for the season with It's a Wonderful Wrap. This ongoing event is a free gift wrapping station filled with bows, bags, tissue paper, ribbons, and anything you may need for your holiday gifts this year. Students can wrap their own gifts at the station or take supplies with them. It's located on the first floor of the library and is available while supplies last.
Madsen Hall was filled on Sunday for the annual fall music recital. A select group of students were handpicked to display their talent. Dateline SAU's Chase Calderwood takes us to this special day for Ambrose musicians.
Students, family members, and Ambrose staff all gathered last Sunday to watch the annual fall recital. Director Nathan Wint says there was more effort that goes into these recitals than you might think.
Usually around the beginning of October, we send out an email to all of the applied teachers asking them to nominate students that they think would do well at a recital like this. So we organize that usually by the beginning of November. We'll start to have a program put together. We try to make sure that the musical variety syncs well, like there's not 5 slow songs all at once, 5 piano songs all at once. Just comes down to kind of just finding the right fits musically and then putting it all together.
The opportunity for these students to perform doesn't come around too often, and they were happy to be back on stage.
It felt really good, I would say. I'm not the greatest performer, and I don't usually perform often, but being in an environment that encourages performing and taking the piece and really using it and pushing it as your own, that's very special. So it's great to be in an environment that encourages that.
Chase Calderwood, Dateline SAU.
Coming up in sports, the St. Ambrose dance team looks to continue its dominance at the Iowa State Dance and Drill Team Association competition in Des Moines.
And the indoor track season is underway with a strong showing by the SAU men's and women's teams.
We'll have these stories and more coming up after the break.
On Dateline SAU.
Post-graduation, I've served on the alumni board and have really enjoyed that role, staying in touch with St. Ambrose and all the things that are happening and getting to see students and hear about what we're doing for students, new buildings. It's just nice to stay in touch with the place that you lived for 4 years and loved while you're here.
We're more than a radio station. We're your neighbors, investing time in our community. We're mentors, guiding the next generation of broadcasters. We're supporters of veterans, partners with social service agencies, and investigators of history. We're dedicated sports fans. We're committed to the stories that make the Quad Cities unique. We are KALA Radio, 88.5 FM, 106.1 FM. Turn it on, turn it up.
The St. Ambrose men's and women's indoor track season kicked off with the Frigid Bee Invite on Saturday. The men put on an impressive performance, bringing home 9 medals, including 4 gold, across 6 events. Last season's CCAC pole vault champion Sam Rush put on a particularly impressive performance, clearing 4.4 meters to bring home the gold in his event. On the track, Will Reemsma brought home a first-place finish in the 400-meter dash. For the women, Lily Olson took silver in the triple jump, and Leah Rose pushed the Bees further with a first-place finish in the 60-meter hurdles. Both teams claimed second place in the team standings at the end of the day to kick off the indoor season on a high note. Both teams will next compete at the Finals Week Invite this Friday. The St. Ambrose dance team once again showed why they are the defending national champions. They swept all 3 dance categories at the Iowa State Dance and Drill Team Championships in Des Moines last week. They bested other NAIA schools from Iowa in hip-hop, pom, and jazz, receiving a special Judge's Choice Award for their hip-hop routine. In fact, their scores were the best of all Iowa colleges. The SAU dance squad has now swept all 3 NAIA dance categories at state 3 years in a row. The women's basketball team won its 4th straight game with an 80-63 victory at Trinity International. The Bees shot nearly 66% from the field, led by Kylie Wroblewski's 23 points. The team shot better than 58% from behind the arc, including Anna Plummer's 5 for 7 three-point shooting. The team improves to 10-1 overall, 7-1 in the conference. Meanwhile, the woes continue for the men's basketball team. They dropped 2 road games this past week to make it 4 losses in a row, and it won't get any easier. Their next game is against nationally ranked Marion, Indiana in Indianapolis. The Bees are now 4-7 on the season. And the first national poll of the 2021 and 2022 bowling season is out, and the St. Ambrose men find themselves in the number 1 spot. The Bees garnered 21 out of 27 first-place votes to earn that top spot. The National Collegiate Bowling Coaches Association poll has the SAU women ranked 5th in the nation. And that's it for sports this week. I'm Cameron Giampaolo.
And that's all we have for you on this edition of Dateline SAU.
We'll be back next week with the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University.
Remember to check out the SAU TV Facebook and Instagram pages for our newscasts, late-breaking news, and more.
You can also find news stories and videos on The Hive at sauthebuzz.com.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next week.